Meanwhile, YouTube is trying to fuck over those people and trying to make it mainstream.
The only thing that matters is money.
Yeah,
it's the sad reality
but
of...
You know what's annoying is that their stuff would make money if they just made it advertiser friendly, but they're so worried about some white supremacist getting an ad for Coca-Cola on it that they have overly demonetized shit that shouldn't actually be that demonetized. And I don't know how much of it is that they genuinely are trying to protect their image from an adpocalypse, or how much of it is that
Adpocalypse? Hold on, explain that.
So Adpocalypse happened. It's happened now like 3 separate times, where massive demonetization efforts, massive algorithm changes that have fucked over independent creators has continually happened from these big major controversial events, where you had something like PewDiePie, where he said the N-word on a stream, and that hurt a lot of stuff. And he has certainly since apologized, and I'm gonna be honest, I don't actually think he's a racist. I think he definitely shouldn't use that word, and in the context that he used it was not a great context either, because he used it to just say that somebody was like stupid, right? He was just like, but don't use that word, use any other word. You can
just
call
stupid is fine.
Yeah, or a fucker or whatever. I don't care, but anyway, so without going too deep into what Adpocalypse actually is, basically big corporations all pulled together and just pushed on YouTube to be like, you guys need to get this under control so our brands aren't hit by this and we get protested. And so then they were like, okay, fine. And so then they really demonetized people, and they got to the point where now it's like everything's getting demonetized on YouTube. If you say
you mean taking away ad revenue.
Yes.
Yeah. And so they're policing.
Yes. Okay. So they're policing with taking away ad revenue. Then they're also hiding suggestions of videos because they're not advertiser friendly. And what they deem as advertiser friendly and not advertiser friendly will also upset you, because all the political commentators, and David Pakman did a really awesome video on this that I'll link in the description because I think this is really important. But basically, all the independent political shows now are losing all of their revenue to the mainstream channels now. So Fox, MSNBC, CNN, they are now getting all of the recommended views that used to go to independent creators, which used to be like a 50-50 split between independent and mainstream media, which is already not fair. Let's just say that again, right? For mainstream things getting 50% versus the
millions of other
thousands of other independent creators that are doing political commentary. Okay, now it's 25% independent, 75% mainstream, and all of these recommendeds are going directly to them. And you can actually look, and he did a breakdown in his video, so he'll do a better job than I am. I'm just paraphrasing this stuff. But he basically breaks down how all the money that used to go to him in the last couple months has dramatically dropped off.
Damn.
That now are directly going to these mainstream outlets. And so, the conspiracy theorist in me wants to say that it's these corporations that know that they're losing this battle, and the only way to win is to rig the game so hard that they can't. That now these independent people can't exist outside of
the corporation being Google, or corporation being the 4 major
being the media conglomerates that own the stuff that then pressure Google. And then Google's a corporation, so they have no interest in people taxing corporations more. They're not liberal. Joe Rogan always talks about them being super. They're not liberal. Okay, they're corporate, and they're like 100% corporate.
They may be socially liberal.
Yes,
but you put that in a box and it dies there.
Yes, and everything else is corporate, like pro-corporate. So anything that is pro-corporation, pro-money, pro-oligarchy, YouTube is still in favor of because they benefit from it directly. They're a big corporation. So that's where like that whole thing is its own problem. And so you have all these independent creators now that if you say fuck once, boom, now you're now advertiser friendly.
Is it true that they automatically censor now? Mm-hmm. Like they can track or not? They can tell when you say fuck and then they bleep it.
Well, no.
So no. I thought maybe I just misread that somewhere.
But they will, like, for example, my videos, all my podcasts, they actually do have auto-generated English closed captions. And I gotta say, they're actually pretty good.
Yeah.
They're pretty good, which means that they know every time I say fuck. So if they're seeing that in there, I'm automatically, and I'm not even trying to advertise on this yet, and maybe I should try turning that on, but I haven't monetized any of my videos on purpose. But if I were to try to, I guarantee you none of them are going to be monetized because of the topics I like to cover, which, hey, if we can't have a platform for it, then what the hell? And then B, All these people are trying to get their revenue from something else. So they're trying Patreon. They're trying like all these other ways of trying to fund themselves so that they're not reliant upon one corporation. But let's be real, dude. YouTube's the only game in town. You're going to tell me Vimeo competes? No, it doesn't. Vimeo doesn't compete.
It's for video nerds.
Yes, it's for video nerds.
It's for college projects.
And yeah, people who make films. Yeah. We'll put short films on there. But like that's not really where, you know, the audience is at. No. And so when you know that the audience is really only, in terms of independent creators, are only on YouTube, and there previously used to be no gate. There used to be no like barrier to you making content. Now there is, and it's not that they're going to stop you from making it. It's that they're going to disincentivize it so you can't live off it. Well, if you're taking away the profit, which is their right, they're a corporation. I'm not going to say that they have to make you monetize it. But it's like if you're taking away the one thing that made YouTube special, then what does YouTube have left? If you're just going to try to turn it into MSNBC, CNN, Fox News, you know, for that kind of stuff, and for any of the other stuff you're trying to put it as like Jimmy Kimmel's clips and all this other, like that's not why I go to YouTube. I don't go to YouTube to watch those clips. Yeah. So you're taking away the one thing that matters for YouTube creators, and you're taking away their ability to make a livelihood, which then prevents them from actually being able to go full-time YouTube. You're then going to make it where it's no longer going to be independent creators and voices.
The quality will go down or go away.
Yes, or go away completely. Yeah. And then, or the only people that can sustain it are the ones who have already built a successful business model. Somebody who's really established, like Philip DeFranco or H3, you know, any one of those like big YouTubers that at least they have some other infrastructure. Like, you know, for H3, for example, they have merchandise that that they sell for H3 for their podcast. And then also Hila is an artist and she has her own clothing line, Teddy Fresh. And so they at least have another way of making money, even though they're getting demonetized the fuck out of. And then the other major problem that YouTube is having is copyright claims. So you have Universal Music Group going around. You played 5 seconds of a thing. Boom. I steal all the revenue because we played 5 seconds, because clearly people are going to my stuff.
Do they pull the clip too, or do they just take the revenue?
Sometimes they'll just take the revenue. I have an episode that does not exist on YouTube because I reviewed music, which is a totally fair use of it, by the way. Totally fair use. And it got copyright claimed. I was like, yo, I'm commenting on it and I'm promoting these artists. Are you guys fucking stupid? I'm literally promoting the artists. They're desperate. Yes.
They're desperate.
And they're like, yeah, we reviewed it. No. And so they just said no. So right now I'm blocked in a bunch of countries for that video because it has music that I was giving a review on and giving my opinion on. Like, yeah, I played 30 seconds of it. Sure. Who's listening to my podcast to listen to 30 seconds of a song and then me pause it and talk about it? like
I could maybe understand if it was Anthony Fantano, like the needle drop or something like that. But you don't have a bass like he does.
It doesn't matter.
I know.
It's all automated. It's Content ID.
I know.
And then it's also a combination of manual claims where they will go around. They literally pay firms. This is a whole other conspiracy that we're going down, but this is a real thing.
Oh, it's the internet police.
It's been, yes.
Prince had it's like a company. I know about this.
There's a company that goes around and basically they will copyright claim for you. You pay them a percentage and then they give you the revenue that they're stealing from other creators that they know are false. But if somebody gets a copyright strike, you can only get like 3 of those before you are out. You're off the platform. You're literally deleted. Even if they're bullshit. And then your ability to fight it back as a small content creator, good fucking luck. Yeah, you're losing that battle. Yeah, even though you might have the totally fair position. And then for you to afford a lawyer to try to battle this out, you're not going to be able to do it. You're fucked. So it's scary to me, and that's why I don't want to put ever all of my eggs in the YouTube basket, because of how much they're basically making it so that, oh, you cursed once, okay, now you're considered not brand friendly. So there are certain brands who will still pay for that because they know that their audience is there, right? But like that's a much smaller pool, and that's also a smaller pool of things that will be suggested via their algorithm that will be recommended to people in the recommended list. And you'd be surprised how many people go down rabbit holes that really are based off the recommended, not just their subscriptions.
Let me ask you this: what categories of content are affected? All categories?
All categories.
Well,
mostly political has been ultra fucked as far as the latest change.
Yeah.
And this was
when did this change?
So this happened, and it's always an event that starts these things. It's a controversy that trends on Twitter that then creates a problem that Google then has to act on it, right? The latest one was, what's his face? The Change My Mind guy. Like
the meme.
I hate abortion. Change my mind.
Yeah,
What's his name? Steven something.
I don't know.
Fuck.
Is he famous?
Yeah, he is.
Well, of course, if you're a meme, you've got to be famous.
Yeah. So let me look up his name. Steven Crowder. That's his name. So Steven Crowder basically had been going at this BuzzFeed guy. What's his name? Fucking. See, I'm gonna butcher all these facts now. But basically, Steven Crowder went after this guy who was a BuzzFeed reporter, and he just kept harping on the fact that he's gay. He kept being like this.
Steven Crowder was harping on the reporter?
On the reporter.
That the reporter's gay?
For being gay, because he's gay. But he was being like, oh, this whimsy, and he was using all these terms that were clearly derogatory. He was definitely being a hater, and more than just trying to be funny. To me, it seemed like, no, you're just targeting him. You're just being an asshole, right?
Yeah.
And so he got in trouble for a video that seemed to put a lot of crosshairs on this BuzzFeed guy, and it created a controversy where then they demonetized his video.
Steven Crowder.
Yes. Okay. They demonetized Steven Crowder's video because he was literally targeting. It's harassment, and it is against their terms of service. So they were right in doing that. But then the reason why they said that they demonetized him was because of this shirt he was selling, this merchandise, and all he had to do was stop selling the merchandise, and the shirt was also kind of being a hater on that BuzzFeed guy. So it just
was it some quote that Steven had and then he put it on a shirt or something like that?
Man, hold on. Let me see if I can pull up an article about this because
damn.
It was basically a whole controversy, and Joe Rogan had on David Pakman recently, and they actually talked about this. And I wish that they didn't spend too much time on it because I think David Pakman has some really interesting points of view. But basically, his ads, and it was until he stopped linking to this shirt. It was a homophobic shirt, so for sure the shirt was not great. Let's see. So when one creator does something blatant, Maza. What's his name? Something Maza. That was the name of. Oh, sorry, it wasn't BuzzFeed. It was Vox. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so he was and somebody made a supercut, by the way, of all the comments he made against Maza.
That's a reporter.
Yeah, okay. Against Maza, and to me, it was just not funny, and just was you're just hating on him being gay. I don't know, which to me that pisses me off because I'm like, pick something else, man.
Yeah, it's not funny.
It's not fun. It's literally not funny. It's just not funny.
It might be funny if you're in middle school.
Yeah, and the thing is I'm not a social justice warrior. Anybody who's listening to my podcast knows that I think people should be able to say whatever the fuck they want.
Yeah.
And he's allowed to say this stuff.
Sure.
And we're allowed to condemn him for it.
Sure.
That's kind of I think he's totally allowed to say whatever he wants as long as he's not actually targeting people to the point where they're literally going to this person's home and fucking them up, right?
I don't think you need to be, I don't think the world needs to label someone a social justice warrior if you're not into people being hateful.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because when somebody's being an overly okay, chill out. You're now going way too far.
You've crossed the line.
You crossed the line. You're getting to the point where it's you're now creating enemies with people who otherwise would be your ally. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of where I draw the line against social justice warriors. I'm I'm for all of these policy things that you're asking for, but this whole policing of people's language, you don't do it. Let people be dumb, and we can shame them for being dumb. But I don't know. So anyway, he had a shirt, and let me see if I can find the shirt. Let's see if I can find the shirt, because the shirt definitely was it was not good. And it was, to me, it was a little bit of hate speech. But do I think that? I think Steven Crowder's a bigot for sure. I'll say it. I'll blatantly say I think he's a bigot for sure. And if you look at his history of stuff, I think he's a privileged white dude. So and I say that as a white dude who I'm a privileged white dude too. I guess I wasn't born with money, but
was he rich and famous before the meme?
I think he's gotten famous for being controversial. That's literally his whole thing, is being an asshole.
Was he on Joe Rogan? Steven Crowder?
He's been on Joe Rogan.
What is he known for before the meme?
They got in a whole argument about legalization of weed because he's not for legalization of weed.
Okay.
And so then it created a whole thing where Joe actually apologized later about that episode.
What?
Yeah, about how he didn't like how he went super hard on him.
Joe went super hard on Steven Crowder?
He went super hard on Steven Crowder because, to be honest, Steven Crowder was just, his opinion's dumb. You know what I mean? But it's his opinion, but it's dumb.
People like that, they are, he's someone that does not believe in life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
Yeah.
Yeah. If someone, whatever, as long as you're not hurting anyone, you need to be able to pursue happiness however you can, because happiness, especially in the culture that we're in, is fleeting.
Oh, this is what it was. Socialism is for, and then it has F with
dashes.
It's figs is what it's supposed to be. and it says socialism is for figs, but it's clearly fags. That's literally what he's trying to say. And so they were basically saying like he needed to remove the link. Originally, so here's the thing. YouTube kind of was being weird. Originally, they said it was his targeted harassment, which honestly, if you look at the supercut of these videos, yeah, it was pretty targeted to me. I don't know. But then when you look at the reason that they ultimately arrived on later, after backtracking and changing their story, YouTube now is saying it's because he was linking to this shirt. And this shirt has Che Guevara on it, and it to me is homophobic. I don't know. I think like this type of shirt is a homophobic shirt.
Sure.
And like what you're trying to imply is saying fags. Yeah. So I get that you're trying to make a joke, but nah, it's not landing for me, dude.
Yeah.
It's not funny. It's just
just shitty. The only people who it's gonna land for are people that think like that.
Yeah, exactly. Which is who his target audience is. This dude's a provocateur. You know, he's like a Milo type character. And whereas like Milo, I feel like never even believed in anything he said. I think he just liked being a provocateur.
He just wanted the attention.
And I think Steven Crowder, I think also doesn't really believe in anything he says either. I think he just knows what's controversial and he just says it.
Neither does Donald Trump. There's a connecting factor.
Yes. Yeah.
He doesn't believe it. He doesn't believe it. I firmly believe he doesn't believe in anything.
He doesn't.
Except for himself and money.
You know what he believes in? Whatever sounds best in the room at the time.
Yeah.
That's what he does. He just adjusts to the room. So to me, YouTube has a really large problem that stems from multiple situations like this. There's the PewDiePie thing. There's this Steven Crowder thing. That's the most recent one, which is fuck the political channels. And it's going to be what's going to be the next one that then these companies and corporations are going to use as leverage over YouTube to say, hey, you got to continue to demonetize these people who are stealing our ad revenue. Because why? Because no one's paying for cable anymore and no one's paying for this. And so they're feeling like they're losing their money and they feel entitled to it, which you're not. If your shit gets automated, I'm sorry, Blockbuster doesn't exist. Why? Because Netflix came around.
Yeah.
Okay.
A better idea.
Yes. So you don't deserve to exist. You don't have a right to exist just because you're a long handheld stood the test of time company. Fuck you. If somebody comes out and comes with something better, then they should be able to win. And the thing is that they know that they can't win on a level playing field, so they're skewing the playing field.